And normally I would be doing this around 6 in the morning if I woke up at 5, or 5 if I woke up at 4. And we start with just a little warm up. Normally I'd pick up my feet like that. It took me a minute to do it because it's fairly slippery out there, so I'm just being a little careful. But I wanted to do it out here by the creek, after all the rain, while the creek looks like a river, because I just think it's real pretty for the video, even though obviously I haven't taken the best video. It'll get the job done. It'll show you what I'm doing every morning. That's vibrating my feet, my heels, my hips as fast as I can, just like the bottom half of the Wing Chun punch, and then shake out the hands, and then we'll start with the rotation of the neck. Just back half circles from the back side, left shoulder to the right shoulder, back and forth. About 8 to 10 each of those, and then do the front circle. And focus on breathing and the body, making sure every little bit of the body is relaxed but also ready. That's the best way to put it. More so with the feet, just a little bit more ready than the rest of the body, really just, gripping the ground. And then we go to the full circle rotations of the neck. One way, and then you'll reverse it, somewhere between 6 and 10 of those. It's going to be a long video. And we just turn in, looking left and right about 10 times. That's 5 times on each side, I think I did, or normally do. I don't know why I'm doing it right now while I'm talking. I'm going to do some head bangs, some slow head bangs, just all the way back and then all the way forward, tucking the chin, squeezing the nape, tucking the chin, and then you'll go side to side, touching your ears to your shoulders one at a time. And each of these last ones, it's about 5 times each side, just to get them. There's a lot of them for the neck. This one, kind of like, this is the worst one I'm at, and I have to move my body to do it. You're like doing that sassy girl head thing, I guess you would call it. Just left and right, trying to keep the chin level. Real hard to do. This one is probably my favorite one. Really can help your back feel better if your back is tight up there, right behind the shoulders, in the middle of the back. Can be a nice thing. So now I do it every day, just so maybe I don't have to do it when it hurts. And then this is just another warm-up, really. You want to use your torso, twist with your hips, and then you're like scooping the water behind you, and then you'll throw it over your shoulder. And with the other arm, you're scooping, and then as you'll throw it while the other arm scoops. Yeah, and you make sure you open up your chest and use your body to move your arms around and not your shoulders, because here after this one we'll do just the shoulders. Yes, this is just the shoulders right here. Just trying to get a good range of motion on the rotation of the arms, which I'm watching myself, and I could have better, I could go further back. I need to get the bar behind my back and really stretch it out and get better used to that. That's just something I do sometimes at the end of the day after everything else. And you'll reverse it and do wide shoulder rotations the other way, whichever way you weren't already going. And open up the chest, then open up the back. Open up the chest, then open up the back. You can do a spinal wave while you're doing this one too. I'll show you the spinal wave later. And this is little rotations, really focusing on rotating with your back, and then pulling those hands in as much as you can get them. I like to be able to get them at a right angle. It's close, it's not the best. When I reverse it, the first one I'm focusing on the shoulders more, and then when I reverse it, I'll start focusing on pulling those hands in a little bit more, just for me. And then you're just gonna rotate the shoulders, the traps, and the lats, a little bit chest. This one I really just do because my arm get a little sore after those first two, and I gotta keep them up and out one more time after this, so I just do this in between, just as a little rest. Here's I guess a more unique one. I've never seen anyone else do it. I just started doing it. I really like the way it feels. Just the arms back out, and then just rotating all the way forward and all the way back the other way. Up and behind, forward and down, up and behind. I don't know. But it feels good. Let me tell you, that one feels good. And you do about 20 total, 10 each way. And 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how you count till you get to 20. And this one is a little bit more compound because it gets a little bit shoulders and a little bit wrist, but it's mostly elbows, so elbow rotation. And you try to move arms as little as possible. I'm not that best at it. Pretty good though. It looks better from the side. You can tell that the arms are moving as much, and when I turn to the side in a minute. But if my arms weren't going left and right, I just try to keep them as still as possible. So it's always been doing this for over 10 years. Always something. Can always keep improving. You just try to keep the mind present with the body, relaxed and ready, because it will relax too much or ready too much sometimes when the mind doesn't stay present. And then how to keep the mind present with the breath and keep that breath going properly. It'll help you keep your mind present with the body. And you'll be body, mind, breath, and spirit all together. See, from this angle, arms don't look like they're moving there as much. I don't have as much up and down issue as I do left and right when I'm doing it. So now that I'm watching the video of me doing it, it's a good thing I'm doing this, because now I can assess better than what I could with just feeling it, because I didn't notice how much left and right movement I had. I knew some, but didn't know that much. And now I can fix it a little bit, maybe the next 3 or 4 years. And then we just do the wrists. Oh man, do we just do the wrists. Sometimes the wrists get a little sore for me. It's all the grip training and the carpentry and any other Gong-Fu that I'm doing. A lot of times just always using the hands and the wrists. And then reverse. I hope that when I do the fingers, you can see what I'm doing, but I'm sure you'll all get the idea regardless. And then I start with the thumbs, about 12 to 15 rotations one way, then I reverse it, go the other way. And then I do the forefinger, pointer finger, and I keep the other 3 fingers tight together so that it's easier to keep them from moving. And I do 12, 15 both ways. And then I'll do the middle finger. And when I do the middle finger, I'll keep the pinky and the ring finger tight together to keep them from moving. And that's pretty easy to do. And I'll do them same amount of time both ways. And then when I do the ring finger, I'll keep the middle and the pointer tight together. And try not to move the pinky, but the pinky gonna move. It's going to move a little bit no matter how much I think you do this, but you just keep trying to minimize that movement as much as you can and just get the ring finger doing circles. And if you can, when you switch one direction to the other, try to switch using a figure eight. That's with every rotation that you'll see me doing when I switch. I try to switch with a figure eight, staying in motion. This one is like a warm-up, just warming up my back for what's to come. Hip rotation. So this one is the light hip rotation warm-up. About 8 to 10 both ways. I don't know if I've reversed it yet or not. I need to pay more attention. Oh, there I go. This is going to take a while. I might have to consider, or maybe y'all consider fast forwarding through some of this. I'm too lazy to edit it, make it fast in the places where they don't have anything to say. Alright, now, oh, that was that one? I don't know. This one is where you try to keep the hips. You're using the hips to move the torso, but you try to keep the hips and the legs as stationary as possible while making, what is that angle? Like 22.5 degree angle rotations. If you can get out to upwards to 45, that'd be good. Somewhere in between there, 22.5 and 45 degree rotation. Both sides, 8 to 10 times. This is the spinal wave. I'm gonna do, right now it just looks like I'm doing regular Tai Chi ball, a little bit poorly actually. I'm gonna be tired. My hands aren't lining up well. Mostly I'm focused on the spinal wave, so I'm reversed it now, and now you can see what I'm really doing is waving that spine, learning how to whip energy through it by doing the subtle wave motion and just getting in touch with how the spine whips, and trying to use the hips to whip the lower part and the shoulders to whip the upper part, or the back really to whip the upper part. The back is pushing the arms out. It's not so much me moving the arms as it is the back and the shoulders pushing out. If I am using the arms, it's because I've been tired and doing it wrong. We'll see when we get to the Tai Chi ball session how well that looks. I'm thinking it's not going to look that great, but I do it anyway. Now I'm really grounding because I'm doing the hard hip rotations. Now, first hip rotations I did, that wasn't the warm-up. I guess I was doing another rotation where I'm trying to keep the top part still and rotate the hips around, but my top part was clearly moving a lot, so I need to get better at that. But I try to keep the first one, before I was moving at the 22.5 to 45 degree angle, the one before that, I was trying to move the hips in a circle without moving as much the top part of the torso, but I didn't do a very good job. On this one, when I reverse it, I stop like that and then go the other way, but for the video, I'm going to just come up and show you what it looks like from the other angle. Yeah, I ground it again because it's slippery. And I don't want to slip on my ass. And you don't have to have your knees straight. You're just trying to bend that back as much as possible while you rotate, and you keep everything just a little bit tight, a little bit loose, that balance of relaxed and ready. Always focusing on that. Always breathing through everything with nice long breaths. And you really stretch it out. Do a little matrix action. Make sure you don't get hit with those bullets. Don't slip. Oh yeah, my least favorite one is the tight hips on me. I'll tell you that. Probably not too terribly tight for the average person, but compared to the rest of my flexibility, hips are really tight. Hard to do, get past a foot. Sometimes I can get to 6 inches on the front split, about the same on the side split. And then anything where, like sitting, not with your legs crossed, but when you got the foot up, you bring the foot up to the crescent where the calf meets the knee, and then you get the other foot, boom, boom, you bring it up, also sitting on the other knee, so both your feet are on the knee and your legs are crossed, and you got to be able to rotate your hips down really, really far so your knees touch the ground to do it, and I'm not quite there, and that's when I added this rotation in to really help me get the hips open up. And I'm just going to do one more hip rotation. I thought, apparently I'm going to do the other leg. Okay. I was talking, I thought I had already done them both. This one's a little hard for me to balance on. Sometimes, yeah, like that right there. Yeah, sometimes I'll just set the foot down when I come back around if I have to. That's okay. If you got to do it every time, that's okay. If you got to hold on to something, also okay. Just always try to work towards the balance to where you can do it like this. I think that's the only time on this session, out of rotating the other one both sides, rotating this one both sides, I think I only had to touch the foot to the ground the one time that we talked about. It's all just there, which is pretty good for me. Usually got to do it at least 2 or 3 times on the hip rotation here. It's a lot of popping. You can't hear it for me. It's when I get very back there, it pops. I don't know, this one I really like. This one's a little easier for me. I just keep the toes on the ground so I can get to them quick. I don't know what I'm fucking doing with my arms. I never really watched myself do this before. I think I need to find something else to do with my arms during this one. Look at me slipping. Getting a little off screen. Oh, look at me. I noticed. It's centered back up a little bit. We're almost done. I got it. Well, knee rotation, 15 like this, both sides, then the ankle, and then another compound knee rotation like the elbow one. This one, very important to keep the mind on the knee, both sides of the knee, and make sure you're not just flicking that thing around with the joints in the knee part loose. Keep them tight. Keep the knee joints tight there. That's important. Really good way of warming up your body in the morning. That's why it's the first thing I do every morning after some, wake up stretches like a dog would do. And I might pet a few dogs and make the coffee, drink the coffee, spend some time with myself, about about 30 minutes, because of and it should be an hour after wake up before I start, but 30 minutes of that hour is when I'm drinking the coffee and sitting down, not playing with the dogs or cleaning something up or using the restroom. And we do the other ankle. Good for lubrication. That's the other thing I was getting at. Really good, lubricate the joints every morning before you go and do whatever you're gonna do with your body. And she'll be getting to the last rotation right here. Learned this one long time ago. Long time ago. Looked silly, I guess. I don't know. I like it. This one's always been one of my favorites. Before I started doing knees over toes, guys workouts to strengthen my knees. Always they were hurting, and then do this 50 to 100 times each side. Make the pain go away. Now I just do 30 each side every morning, because with the knees over toes, a little bit program that I do, and we'll eventually look into what I'm doing with that. It's not much, but it's enough that now I don't ever worry about the knee pain, unless I just stress the knee too much, maybe with some strongman workout or lifting too heavy, deadlift or squat. Then I might do a little bit more that day, but typically the knees feel real strong all the time now, which is great. And that's all the rotations that I'm doing. I guess I'm just using this crown energy, Tai Chi move, reach the upper Dantian energy, heavenly energy, whatever you want to call it, and then come to the heart energy, come to the lower Dantian, the lower 3 chakra energies, and just feel how you feel and examine it, think about it. And then going into the qigong massages, I start with the tapping on the head, just tapping everywhere on the head, behind the ears, in front of the ears, the forehead, the nape of the neck, however far down the neck you feel like will be helpful for you, and all entire skull. Tapping with your fingertips, Then we're going to comb with the fingernails and comb your skull, starting from the forehead all the way down the neck, just combing, and it'll feel pretty good. And you'll do maybe 10 times. It's just combing straight down the head, over the very top of the head, up the forehead, over the very top of the head, and straight down the back of the head to the neck. And then you'll switch to combing from the forehead around the head to the back of the head, almost like you're wearing a crown. You're scratching in the crown direction. And then you get into the tree position. I'm a tree. And then you'll breathe in. You'll slap the top of your head, the crown, as gentle or as hard as you feel like you want to that day. And then you breathe out and slap the other hand. Breathe in, slap the first hand, breathe out, slap the second hand. Breathe in, the first, breathe out, the second. It'll be the same motions and breaths when you slap the nape of the neck, which is what we do after this. There, you're doing the nape, about 10 each side, I think, what I normally do. I don't know how many I did for the video here. massage the face. I think in this one, yeah, so you'll breathe in on one, and you go down the middle of the face. You'll breathe out on the other one. You go down the side of the face, just in front of the ears. In the middle of the face, the nose, the mouth, the the congestion part, beside your nose. What's that called? I don't know. Where all your congestion is, your mouth and chin. And then the side is your temple and your cheeks. And then you do the ears. The way you do the ears is hard to see on here, but you just, with your fingers at the top of your ears, just cover them up with your fingers and slide your fingers down your ears, just pulling on them lightly. And you do that, you breathe in, and then you'll use your thumbs and fold your ears over, kind of close them, and breathe out. Then you swipe down, breathe in, close them, breathe out. Then we'll slap the back. And slap the back, upper back, the traps, the neck. This with however much force make you feel good. Sometimes light force massage, sometimes heavy force. And then switch to the fist and do the shoulder. The front of the shoulder. You'll work your way to the chest. To the chest. And then the front of the neck. Front, right side of the neck. And then you'll switch arms, you do it again. If you feel a place somewhere where there's a knot or extra pressure, it hurts a little bit more, but it's not the kind of hurt that's damaging. Focus on that spot more than the rest of the spots, places. Now you're gonna slap the armpits. You slap the armpits when you get to them 41 times on both sides. When you get to the elbows, 41 times, or 21 if you want less, or 81 if you want more. And then when you get to the wrists, it's 41 times. When you get to the groin, 21, 41, 81 times. This 21, 41, 81 applies to all the ones I'm mentioning right now. The groin, the back of the knees, the ankles, the back of the ankles, the Achilles tendon. Oh, and after the wrist, you'll slap your hands together 41 times. And then after the Achilles, you slap the bottom of your feet 41 times. Those, now so I'm slapping the arm again. This is a different thing than the armpits, the elbow, under the knees, the crotch, the groin, the wrists, the ankle, and the feet and the hands. Those specifically is like a meridian energy slapping system I learned a while ago. The other one I'm doing now between those to fill in the gaps, to hitting the arms and the muscle with either the slapping or the fist. That's just the qigong massage. Go to the back to the meridian, slapping. I guess the slapping, it takes me longer than the rotations. I always thought it was the other way around because I don't really enjoy the rotations as much anymore. I've been doing them a lot longer, 10 years, over 10 years. Whereas the qigong massaging, I've been started it like 6 years ago, but it was started just head and knees, and then eventually, since the last year, it's turned into a full body thing that I do every day now. And I like it more because it's a little newer to me, so it doesn't seem like it takes as long, but clearly it takes a little longer than the rotations, because we're not even halfway done. This really right here, because I do it before I get to the iron body, and so it's pretty nice. Get a little massage in before you really start whacking your bones on your forearms together. There we go, slapping the wrist. 21, 41, 81. I do 41 on everything except the knees. The knees, I do 81, back of the knees, because I do the knees at the same time. So I just go ahead and do 81. Now, after the hand slapping, you might go use the restroom real quick before you start hitting the stomach, because when you get to the lower dantian, just above the crotch there, you might have to make yourself have to use the restroom. So just better to do right before you do that part. Here, this is really good right here. If you can get flexible enough to do that, you'll love yourself. It feels good. I really like it hitting the glutes real hard and the hips, and just get tight there sometimes, and that helps me. Okay, so yeah, I gotta move things over to do this. You can do maybe wider stance and do them both at the same time. I've seen some people be able to do it. I gotta move things out of the way. I recommend you just do one at a time and move the stuff out of the way. So you want to get right on the seam, or just on the leg side of the seam. And this one is the meridian version part. When I did the lower back and the stomach, that's the qigong massage. Just a good way to, when you're doing the rotations in this, you can be also just thankful for the body, being appreciative of the body, saying, I'm going to do what I can to take care of you every morning before I start asking of you. I'm going to give a little bit. So much slapping, smacking, a lot of surface area to the body. You don't really notice until you have to do this or want to do it. we will be getting to my favorite one, back of the knees. Really digging into them. But this open palm slap, just clapping, cupping the back of your knees. If you got a place that hurts, you can kind of use your thumb for a little bit of a harder point of contact. There's a knot underneath the knee. That's what I'll do. I'll just make sure the knuckle on my thumb is bent a little bit and is driving into the knot when I do that one, into the calves. But normally I would sit down and I would then, with my fingertips, tap the knees before I moved on to the calves. Tap the knees for a minute and then just kind of smoothly rotate my hands, make circles on the knees. Go to the inside, down, outside, up, inside, down, outside, up when you do the rotations on your knees. And then you just slightly smooth your hands over them like that for, I don't know, 40, 50 rotations. It won't take long, and your knees feel really, really good after that. Then, massage the calves with qigong massage, and then meridian, slap both hands, both sides of the Achilles tendon, what I like to do, 41 times. I was going to go out of order. I was like, no, I better do other foot first. Just 41 slaps on the foot. Listen, then you're done with the qigong massaging. Couldn't get any good slaps in until I got my balance back. And the last thing for meditation is the Tai Chi compound rotation movements. That's kind of what I call them. Now, I recently learned a new one I like, and it kind of starts with that there. But then you'll go, I better just film it and throw it in so you can see what I'm talking about. This one is same thing as everything else all the way through, but really focus on it more on this one, the relaxed but ready body, and really grounding the feet, gripping the ground, and then let your breathing in and open up the chest, and then you breathe out and around the back, close the chest. You open the chest, you breathe in, and you breathe out around the back. Really focus on the breathing, the grounding, and then any tingling sensation in your hands that you might feel. Put a focus on that as well. But if you can't focus on all these things one time, I don't know what is a good thing to start with. Grounding, maybe. Now breathing. Just focus on your breathing first. When you get comfortable with that, breathing, then grounding. When you get comfortable with that, making sure you're opening up the chest and closing and rounding the back at the right times. And also notice that I'm rising when I breathe in and come up, and sinking a little bit when I come down. So that would be the next thing you throw into your focus. And then once you can focus on all four of those things at the same time, the energy in your hands. Sometimes I will just go into this one right here from Tai Chi Ball instead of doing it as an individual, but just starting off with, it's easier to just do it like this. And you can take a wider stance. I wouldn't take much more narrow a stance. I feel like I'm a little too narrow, but it's fine. This one, really, 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 really important to understand how your hips are controlling everything. They're controlling the legs. The legs are grounding. They're giving you the power. The arms and the torso following the hips. The hips turning first, and the arms and the torso is getting twisted just because the hips are turning, and the arms just following. Just following. They're not moving on their own. They're just following the body. Just learn to understand that mechanic of how the hips control the movement. Practice doing it slow and a little bit faster, a little bit faster. And when you're real comfortable with it, you can just start going as fast as you want, but always make sure you train slow and put the emphasis on the slow when you can, because you're going to want to do it fast for fun, but really it's better for you to do it slow more than you do it fast. Let's see what's next. This one is pretty similar to the first one, with the breathing in when you go up, exhale when you come down, rise in the body when you go up, sink in the body when you go down. Your mind is on your breath and your grounding. Your arms go up from your back and come down, they just fall, and your back controls the fall, not the shoulders. It's another good one to feel the energy. They're all good ones to feel the energy, really. I don't know. I really like close my eyes a lot. I need to practice more with my eyes open so I can realize that my arms are perfectly aligned. Because I mean, sometimes the body, you do the same thing every single day. Sometimes, some days, the body is just sore, and it can be sore more one side than the other, and you won't notice how it changes how you think the movement should feel. And so you end up sometimes like me, like that, but the arms were uneven for one or two of them. Because they feel the same, my eyes are closed, it feels the same, but one arm more tired than the other, dragging behind, or vice versa. This one a little bit like the other one, where I was going back and forth like that with the ball. This one is the same motion, almost exactly with the body. You kind of see how the hands really are making a figure eight and go over and then down, and then kind of up and over, down, up and over. It's a figure eight. But it's the same movement with the body, with a more narrow stance. I'm just slightly more narrow than what I was before, but you can go real narrow with this one and you can go really wide with the other one. But this is the limit on wide for this one, and the other one I did was the limit for narrow that I would recommend you doing at just as individual practice. If you're flowing from one movement to the other, just on a trying to just flow, not thinking about it, don't worry too much about how wide and narrow your stance is. Just make sure you're grounded and balanced and comfortable. Just pay attention that it's the body doing these things, doing the movements. It's not the arms. This one really good for looking and observing two places at once, using your peripherals, taking in the entire picture of what you're seeing. So when the arms are fully extended either side like that, just notice both of your hands. Put your mind in both of your hands. Be aware of them with your eyes. See both of your hands at the same time, and then you bring your mind together, and then put your mind in your hands. Separate your mind into two places. I'm going to do it again, different angle. You can see mind in both the hands. Bring the mind back together. Put the mind back in both hands. Bring it back together. See, I moved my hair out of the way so I could better see my fingers when I'm doing it. You can wiggle your fingers too if you can't see them. I think I give an example here in a minute of that. I shouldn't really need to give it, but I did it anyway. Just to, so you, oh, I can see them, I wiggle them, oh, I can see them. I just didn't notice that I could see them is what you're really, the conclusion you'll come to. So there, you learn to use your peripherals, see the finger with them. And seeing, not focusing on any one spot, but seeing the whole battlefield at the same time. You want to fight multiple opponents, you cannot focus on one thing. You have to see the whole 180-degree picture, and look down so you can see a little bit behind you. So if feet come up behind you, they come into the picture too. And looking down keeps your chin tucked. Your eyes should be looking down at such an angle that you'll cross the opponent's hips, core. Because if they're a good fighter, they'll initiate everything from the hip. So that's where you want your gaze to be. But you're not looking specifically at the hip. You take the whole body and the whole picture in. Now, if they're a bad fighter, they'll engage you from their shoulders. And if you were good at using the hip and you've trained, I wouldn't worry about anybody fighting from the shoulder. They're not going to be too much of a problem unless they're just a big beast and a badass. I mean, just more of all the same that I've said for this one. And then I think I take this one into Tai Chi Ball, which Tai Chi Ball uses the spinal wave that I did in my rotations earlier as a warm up for this. You start by relaxing and readying everything, grounding the feet, emptying the mind, then start breathing into the ball and expand the hands, and then breathe out, bring them back together, and start feeling the energy between the hands. Start subtly waving the spine and motioning the ball with your back, trying to use as little arms and shoulders as possible. And eventually you'll be doing subtle, and you can do more exaggerated movements slowly, or you can move your hinged arms more and go. It's not that you're using your arms more, but you're just allowing them to hinge as your back moves them out more. So if you wanted to go from a small Tai Chi ball, you just each rotation slowly allow them to move out more, to hinge out more until you basically till they hinge all the way out and you got a really big Tai Chi ball. And then you can slowly bring it back in to a small Tai Chi ball again. And you can do the same thing, slowly build up speed and do a fast Tai Chi ball. You can build up speed for a fast, small, medium, or large Tai Chi ball, and then slowly build it back down to real slow again, or back to your medium pace. Twist to the left and the right while you do it, and try to understand how the spinal wave changes when you do that. You can slowly turn into a left and right sideways Tai Chi ball, while you would then do your hips left and right too while you do it, instead of the spinal wave. And you'd learn how the spine goes from waving to kind of hula hooping naturally, and that when you're at a vertical, how it's kind of a little bit doing both some way, but you can't think about it. You just have to do them both separately, and then eventually the body just figure out how to transition the movements together. Then you can start doing some moving with the Tai Chi ball and going into other forms and stuff. Here I guess I'm demonstrating going to left and right. We'll get to see how poor my Tai Chi ball really is. It feels like I'm doing it so well when I'm doing it. And everything is whipping, and the feet are grounding, and the spine is whipping all the way up, and then it's starting again before it finishes, and then it's going up, and the next one starts before it finishes, and it goes up, and the only thing I notice when I'm doing it and not watching the camera is I notice sometimes my shoulders quit working a little bit and my arms work a little more, and then I correct it. And then of course when I see myself do it on the camera, I'm like, that spinal wave isn't waving as much as I was hoping it would, but I still think it's good progress for me from when I started doing it 8 years ago. And I started it, they said, you need to learn to do spinal wave. Okay, so just do this. I said, well, I feel like I'm just throwing myself around awkwardly. It took a couple weeks for me to feel like, okay, I'm a little bit doing it right now. Then it's still first day, they say, you should be able to count the vertebrae in your spine as you do it. That's how slow you should be able to. You should be able to feel when each vertebrae has done its part of the wave. And I've been doing this Tai Chi ball for like 8 years, and it's only like 3 or 4 months ago for the first time where, okay, I counted them. I could count, I don't know how many there are, to be honest with you, but it felt like I counted at least 16. um, and I could feel it all individually. So here I'm going around to the hula hoop style Tai Chi ball, not keeping my hands at good distances. I am not. But the form looks good outside of my hands. I'm probably really focused on my body movement right now and less on the energy in between my hands. And that's why my hands aren't lining up as well as they should be. The energy is still there though, because when you get done and I do focus back on the energy properly, it's there. I know it's been built up and it's there. We'll do some stuff with it later. This you can step with it. And how many steps I do, you can boom, down, step back, boom, step forward, step back, step forward. We'll go into this again, like I was talking about earlier. This one here is in the spinal wave. It's a bit of a different motion. You'll just have to figure it out. I don't know how to tell you how to do it. Nobody told me. I just kind of done enough of it like this for 3 weeks, and then boom, all of a sudden they're teaching us the steps, and the body just feels it out. See, the spinning wave looks pretty good, really, but I can see that it doesn't look as good as I thought that it felt. And this is one of those things with all the Gong-Fu movements. No matter how much you do them, how many hours, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 years, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, it just is always can be improved a little bit. You can always get more in touch with it, always correct the breathing to it, always put more of the mind into it, and then you get more of the mind out of it. So all the physical stuff, the point of it, everything physical that you're doing is a form of disciplining the mind so that you can do more with the body. The more you do with the body, the more you train yourself to believe in yourself and what you can do with the body, the stronger the mind gets. And then when the mind gets stronger, it sends you more energy to work with, then you can do more with that energy with the body. And it's just a cycle, it builds on itself. You get to the point where maybe you do training for 48 hours at a time and 96 hours at a time, and you maybe meditate an hour every 12 hours, sitting meditation, and you can get through all 96 hours on the energy because you've learned to cultivate it. Don't just do it one day. You work up to it. You start slow. You do years of training and conditioning, and then you get to that point where you just have so much energy because you've done so much and your mind's become so disciplined. All right, now we're done with the rotations, isolation rotations, the qigong massage, and the Tai Chi compound rotations. So if you have the time, either before or after, you meditate. And if you're watching the video, you can meditate to this river. In a few minutes, I'll make some chakra noises very poorly, and hopefully y'all enjoy the rest of your beautiful, wonderful day. Appreciate your earth and appreciate the sun.